Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I am double plus thrilled when I can share with you poetry that is in issue collection books from Scars Publications that relates to periodic table elements. I have got some poetry to share with you. Thank you for you listening from the Down in the Dirt issue collection book from May to August of 2022. I was in, I think, the end of July at an open mic, and someone asked me if I had seen any of the James Webb Telescope images, and I said, yes, I have, and I put one of them as a background on my screen on my work computer, my home computer, my desktop, and I used that same image for the issue collection book from Down in the Dirt of the May to August 2022 issues, because it is titled based on one piece of accepted writing in the book, The Final Frontier. This is The Final Frontier. This is the James Webb Telescope image. The Final Frontier. What? This book, I love this thing. I think it's just the coolest thing ever. The Final Frontier. Amazing, amazing imagery from James Webb Telescope, and because it is a government agency, it's the people's, so I could do this. And I thought it was cool, and I'm going to share with you, because somebody has been submitting poetry about periodic table elements, I'm going to share with you what appears in this book. A poem, two different poems. One, the first one I'm going to share with you, is Twitter length. I originally wrote poetry for every element in the periodic table, but when a friend of mine said, hey, write a Twitter length one, Science and Engineering News is doing a contest, I didn't realize the length of the time for the contest, so I just started writing them. And I said, I'm going to write one for every one of them in recent years, now that they've all been named. And I completed it, and it is Twitterverse periodic table poetry. This book is out as well. So the first poem I'm going to read is not only in The Final Frontier, but also in Twitterverse periodic table poetry. Two Scars Publications released this. Yippee Skippy for Scars, I guess. And Yippee Skippy for science, and trying to mix science and poetry and be creative in as many different ways as we can. So this first one, which fits into one tweet, I tell you, is for Copper, and it's titled Copper in Your Mouth. That metallic taste in your mouth is copper. Like licking a coin, but much too bloody. The untraceable copper jacket bullet I made and shot through your mouth is now lodged so precariously close to the base of your skull. So, it's actually funny tasting copper in your mouth. Sorry I put a smile on my face that I'm really that devious. That was Copper in Your Mouth that appears in The Final Frontier as well as Twitterverse periodic table poetry. It actually has all of the elements through Oganison, Tennessee, which I didn't have names for them when I did the original poetry for every individual poem, because the other poem I'm going to share with you is the longer version of that one, titled Copper, which, as I said, not only appears in The Final Frontier, but it also appears in the 2015 book, The Periodic Table of Poetry. It is different from the Twitterverse one. Twitterverse one's tiny, this one is huge, and this next poem, Copper, actually appears in this book. It is a much longer version of what you had just heard, and I can't believe I'm doing this. This is a poem that appears in both of these books, Periodic Table Poetry and The Final Frontier. And now I'm going to find it in the book and share with you the one last poem that I'm going to do for the short reading of Periodic Table Poetry. And this is titled Copper. The metallic taste in your mouth isn't just copper. I know you think you know the taste, but like a coin, since most U.S. coins are actually 3/4 of that element. But the taste is probably more from your blood. Metal elements like copper, iron, zinc, those are the elements coursing through your bloodstream. They give you that copper taste in your mouth. learn the difference. It's funny that you think copper, since it's the badge of the base of the Copper Age, where it existed over 10,000 years ago in the Middle East, later throughout Asia, also Africa. And that element is so commonly used on Earth, conducting both heat and electricity, used in construction. Do you feel any of that heat after that electric charge? Do you feel it in the construct of your body? From that copper taste in your mouth now? I mean, copper is a trace element in plants and animals, and the human body even contains 1 milligram of copper per pound. But you know, the thing is, what's really funny, if you want to be technical about it and break it down, is that the copper-jacketed bullet was not invented until Lieutenant Colonel Edward Rubin of the Swiss Army used it in 1862. And the first Google search for copper-jacketed bullet actually produced a link to making your own copper-jacketed bullets. Because, you see, even though there is copper in blood, I made my own copper-jacketed bullets, so nobody could trace the bullet that was just shot through your mouth and is now lodged precariously close to the base of your skull. Actually, it's really funny if you think about it. Tasting copper in your mouth. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you just heard poetry about copper. The original poem Copper that was in the book, The Periodic Table of Poetry, which is sold for $11.18 for elements 1 through 118 in the periodic table. And also, the first Copper in Your Mouth, the Twitter length one from the book Twitter verse Periodic Table of Poetry. Based on a contest suggestion from a chemistry friend of mine. So I started writing them for all of them and didn't realize that it was ending, and it did end, and I won for manganese. Manganese, I believe. No, magnesium. If you check it out online, you would see there's one. I won a science contest book with a Twitter length poem. What? But not only is the poems about copper in both of these books, but they are also in the Down in the Dirt issue collection book, The Final Frontier. And I'm going to stop talking about periodic table stuff and maybe come for one more reading during this honorary time for community poetry, a Tom Woodruff poetry open mic that closed down sniff due to the pandemic. He actually this past week put up a post after video posts were posted from this, thanking me for continuing the spirit of community poetry. I'm doing what I can. This is how I read then, and now this is how I read now, with lots of books around me to share with you guys. And like I would always say, I hope everyone is staying safe, especially the people in Florida, Naples in particular, because I'm wearing a picture that I took of Naples Pier, because that was a second home to me as I grew up, and I feel terrible that the Hurricane Ian has caused so much damage throughout parts of our country, and I hope everyone there is safe. I hope everyone around the country and the world is safe, and if you are concerned and can be vaccinated for the COVID vaccines and you haven't, shame on you. Stay safe, because as I jokingly say, you always do what the government tells you to do. And I hope everyone is, because I am. I'm a good soldier, and you do these things to stay safe. Stay creatively inclined, and I thank each and every one of you for listening. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank all of you. And I might come with one more reading. I've got room for one more. I can't do the whole 2 hours because I wasn't the only person that read from that 1 to 3 p.m. Central Standard Time thing from Tom Woodruff's open mic. So I might do one more reading for you guys. I hope everyone stays safe, creatively inclined. Thank you all, and I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you very soon. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I will talk to you very soon. Thank you.